from Hollywood, I'm Martin Grove, welcoming you to our Screendollars podcast, Box Office Autopsy. Right now, we'll look at the movie marketplace and analyze how things are going and where they're going, sharing some opinions from my perspective after decades of talking about Hollywood on CNN Entertainment Tonight and as a Hollywood Reporter columnist. There was new blood in the box office waters, and horror fans were drawn to it. We'll start today on Box Office Autopsy with a look at Scream's overperforming opening. Afterwards, we'll focus on the awards season in our Oscar Outlook feature, today spotlighting Adam McKay's Best Picture contender, Don't Look Up, from Netflix, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence. But first, moviegoers turned out for the return of Ghostface, opening the horror reboot chiller Scream in first place to a sizzling $35 million for the four-day Martin Luther King Jr. birthday holiday weekend, with $30.6 million of that from Friday through Sunday. Internationally, it opened in 50 markets and did $18 million. The Paramount and Spyglass Entertainment R-rated horror reboot stars Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, and David Arquette, all back from the 1996 original. Let's listen in as Neve Campbell recalls the first Scream, directed by Wes Craven.
The first film for us was like going to summer camp. It was just a lot of fun. We knew we were part of something that felt like it was on fire. You know, there was something special about it, but you still never know. We had no clue, really, of the success that this movie would have. And honestly, every time we do another one of these, it's like going back to summer camp. It's revisiting these characters, revisiting each other, lots of memories and a lot of fun. We all get along really well. So certainly on this one, to be with David and Courtney again was fantastic. I love them. We have so much history together. It's been beautiful. I certainly know Sydney. I know the character. Yeah, it's just like just putting her boots on again and getting into it. And the script really flows again and is in keeping with the other films. And so it was not difficult. And the other actors, I mean, when we get into a rhythm with Dewey and Sid and Gail, we all fall into it pretty easily again. I read the script and I thought they did a great job. I had been apprehensive about doing another one without Wes. But Matt and Tyler sent me a really beautiful letter expressing how they became directors and were making this movie because of these films, and that they were huge fans of Wes and that they really wanted to honor him and honor his voice. And that meant the world to me to read that letter. So that was definitely a big selling point for me.
Scream beat exhibitors' projections of $24 to $26 million. As for Hollywood handicappers, they'd only been thinking $20 million plus. So clearly the media underestimated moviegoers' appetite for a few good scares. It did just okay with critics, 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, but audiences liked it much more, with 85%. So word of mouth should be good. And it definitely helped that Scream's not streaming on Paramount Plus. Sony and Marvel's Spider-Man No Way Home continued to keep the multiplexes busy. It came in a strong second in weekend 4 with $26 million for 4 days, with $20.8 million of that for Friday through Sunday, down just 36%. Its cum through Monday will be $703.9 million, making it the fourth biggest domestic film ever, beating Black Panther's $700.4 million. Fortunately for exhibitors, there's a lot of box office bite left in Spidey. Universal Film Nation's The 355 finished fourth in weekend 2 with just $2.8 million for 4 days. Moviegoers have kissed this female spy's thriller goodbye. It was off 49% for Friday through Sunday. It's 26% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, although audiences scored it 83%. The problem is, for good word of mouth to spread, people have to see the picture, and that's just not happening. Looking ahead to next weekend, Scream and Spidey will have to do the heavy lifting. Neither of January 21st's two wide openings are showing any signs of life on the tracking, and neither is likely to make any box office impact. It's another lost box office weekend for exhibitors as the studios sit on the sidelines waiting for warmer weather. The PG-13 faith-based romantic historical drama Redeeming Love from Mission Pictures is being released through Universal. It's from DJ Caruso, who directed the 2011 sci-fi adventure I Am Number 4, which was produced by Michael Bay. Little love is likely from moviegoers. As for Gravitas Ventures' PG period piece action adventure The King's Daughter, it runs all of 90 minutes. It was shot in 2014 and intended for release in 2015, but many delays followed. Directed by Sean McNamara, who made the 2020 comedy adventure Aliens Stole My Body, which ran all of 88 minutes. It stars Pierce 007 Brosnan as King Louis XIV. Louis ruled France from 1643 through 1715 from Versailles, a palace that would have been straight out of Hollywood, if there'd been a Hollywood then. Moviegoers' lack of interest in period dramas set in France was hammered home last October when Disney 20th's The Last Duel, directed by four-time Oscar nominee Ridley Scott, opened to just $4.5 million and wound up doing $10.9 million domestically. With so little to look forward to on the box office horizon, it suddenly feels good to have the award season underway. Our Oscar Outlook focus today is on Adam McKay's Best Picture contender, Don't Look Up, from Netflix, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence. In this R-rated sci-fi comedy drama, two unknown astronomers desperately try using the media to warn humanity there's a comet coming that will, you guessed it, destroy the Earth. In this scene from the film, which begins with way too much stressful breathing by DiCaprio, you'll hear Meryl Streep playing a very skeptical President of the United States.
You are here now. You are here now. You are here now. Here now. Your breathing is stressing me out.
This will affect the entire planet.
I know, but it's like so stressful. Can I get that one more ice water?
I'll get 2 more glasses of white wine. And I don't need the judgy face. There's a comet headed directly towards Earth. Do you know how many the world is ending meetings we've had over the last 2 years?
Drought, famine. Hole in the ozone is so boring.
Things could be looking up for Don't Look Up on the Best Picture front. It's one of 5 films nominated by Screen Actors Guild members for Outstanding Performance by a Cast. That's SAG's equivalent of a Best Picture race. It's got great star power with DiCaprio and Lawrence, although neither of them got individual SAG acting noms. Director Adam McKay is a high-profile filmmaker who won the Adapted Screenplay Oscar in 2016 for comedy drama The Big Short, which had 4 other Oscar noms, including picture and directing. What's not in Don't's favor is that sci-fi films of any sort are rarely taken seriously by Academy voters. On the other hand, actors are the Academy's largest voting branch, so it can be very helpful when they like a film. Typically, they will vote the same way in the Oscar race as they did in the SAG race. But at the same time, Don't faces some stiff competition in SAG's cast race, including from MGM Bronze biodrama House of Gucci, which has a lead actress nom for Lady Gaga and a supporting actor nom for Jared Leto. Here's a scene that shows why Lady Gaga's already an Oscar frontrunner.
Who is making this stuff? Who's allowing this to happen?
As far as fakes go, they're pretty good. I mean, I'd buy them.
Don't be such a cretin.
Don't call me a cretin, sweetie.
That's not what I said. I asked you not to be one. This is serious. And you're laughing it off.
At least it's my name on the mugs, not yours.
Our name, sweetie. On junk.
Don't also faces strong Best Picture competition from Warner Brothers' biodrama King Richard, starring Will Smith as father and coach to future tennis stars Venus and Serena Williams. Smith, who's also a producer of the film, has a SAG lead actor nom and is already an Oscar frontrunner in that category. Here's a film clip that shows why, just based on what we can hear.
Do you want to turn pro?
Yes.
A lot of people are excited to see how you do against players like Celis. Do you think you can beat her?
I know I could beat her.
You know you can beat her. Very confident.
I'm very confident.
You say it so easily. Why?
Because I believe it.
But you haven't played a match in almost 3 years.
All right, hold it right there, if you don't mind. Let me tell you why.
Richard, we're doing an interview.
What she had said, she said it with so much confidence the first time, but you keep going on and on.
But you can't just keep interrupting if we
What you got to understand is you're dealing with the image of a 14-year-old child. And this child gonna be playing when your old ass and me gonna be in the grave. When she had said something, we done told you what's happening. You are dealing with a little black kid. Let her be a kid. Now, she done answered it with a lot of confidence. Leave that alone.
Now, let's take a closer look at some of the other SAG races, in particular for lead actor and lead actress, although as the SAG categories call them, outstanding performance by a female actor in a leading role and outstanding performance by a male actor in a leading role. So, on the female side of the fence, we already said Lady Gaga is a front runner in a big way. In the opposition there, you've got Nicole Kidman from Being the Ricardos, which is a terrific film playing on Amazon Prime, as she plays, of course, Lucille Ball. You've got Jessica Chastain in The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman, an Oscar favorite over the years, for The Lost Daughter, and Jennifer Hudson for Respect, the Aretha Franklin biopic. On the male side, the competition that Will Smith is facing is pretty formidable as well. There's Benedict Cumberbatch in The Power of the Dog. There's Denzel Washington in The Tragedy of Macbeth. Andrew Garfield in Tick, Tick, Boom. And Javier Bardem from Being the Ricardos. He, of course, plays Desi Arnaz opposite Nicole Kidman. So those races are bound to be pretty competitive. Looking at the supporting races on SAG, on the female side, there's Catriona Balfe for Belfast, the Kenneth Branagh film from Focus, Cate Blanchett for Nightmare Alley, Guillermo del Toro's film noir for Searchlight Pictures, Ariana DeBose from West Side Story, who's been getting some awards leading up to this, so she's certainly a contender. That's from Disney and 20th. Kirsten Dunst from The Power of the Dog, Ruth Negga for Passing. So the supporting female race is competitive, and certainly on the male side in the supporting area, Ben Affleck for The Tender Bar, Bradley Cooper, Licorice Pizza, Troy Kotsur for Coda, Jared Leto for House of Gucci. He's attracted a great deal of attention for a very showy role in that film, and Cody Smith-McPhee for The Power of the Dog. So those SAG races will be very interesting to watch, and indeed that's what we'll do. Now, on next week's Box Office Autopsy, we'll see how Scream holds up. And our Oscar Outlook Spotlight will light up House of Gucci to consider in more detail its potential for numerous nominations. That can be a great road to Oscar success. It's proven very effective in the past. You wind up with a dozen or so Oscar nominations, and what that means is that all those different branches of the Academy are saying that they like you. Now, in the crazy Byzantine preferential voting system that the Academy uses for the Best Picture race, being liked by lots of branches is much better than being loved by a handful of voters. So it can add up to Oscar gold, and we'll be keeping an eye on that for sure. For now, thanks for joining us today. And if you're an Academy member, I hope you made careful notes. Time now for our film flashback look at what was happening in Hollywood right around now, way back then. Let's set today's time travel dial for January 12th, 1966. Batman had been a comic book hero since his 1939 start in Detective Comics number 27. But the Caped Crusader took a decidedly different turn when ABC's campy pop art TV series Batman premiered January 12, 1966. This wasn't how Batman's transition to TV was supposed to go. Batman was a dark comic book superhero similar to the character we know today and will soon be seeing in Warner Brothers and DC's The Batman. In the early 60s, Batman's TV rights were optioned by Ed Graham Productions, which was talking to CBS about doing a Saturday morning kids action hero series like The Adventures of Superman or The Lone Ranger. Meanwhile, at ABC, programming executive Yale Udoff, who'd been a Batman comics fan as a kid, knew program chiefs Harv Bennett and Edgar Sherrick wanted to do a hip action series like NBC's The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Udoff pitched them Batman. CBS and Graham weren't getting anywhere, so DC reacquired its Batman TV rights and did a deal at ABC, which brought the project to 20th Century Fox Television, which hired William Dozier to produce an adventure series that would be serious but fun. Things changed dramatically when Dozier, who wasn't into comics as a kid, read some Batman issues and decided the show should use pop art and tongue-in-cheek comedy. Spy novelist Eric Ambler, who was to write a movie launching the series, quit over Dozier's campy comedy concept. Lorenzo Semple Jr., who later wrote 1976's King Kong remake, wrote a pilot using Dozier's pop art style. The series' villains were all well known from Batman comics, like the Joker, Penguin, Riddler, and Catwoman. With development moving at breakneck speed, 2 sets of screen tests were shot, with Adam West and Burt Ward as Batman and Robin, and with Lyle Waggoner and Peter Dial. Dozier went for West and Ward, and the rest is TV history. Batman was to be a 1-hour show, but when ABC decided to launch it in January 1966 instead of September, only 2 early evening half-hour time slots were open. So Batman became 2 30-minute programs, airing Wednesdays and Thursdays with cliffhanger endings. The Batman feature that opened July 30th, 1966, was to have preceded the series' debut, but was delayed because its stars couldn't film until Season 1's summer hiatus. The film was fast-tracked to get it into theaters before Season 2 began. It was released by the show's studio, 20th Century Fox, and to this day is the only live-action Batman movie not distributed by Warner Brothers, which owns the character through its DC Comics division. And that's it for today's podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with another box office autopsy next week. In Hollywood for Screendollars, I'm Martin Grove.